By the time you finish this video, you will know exactly what defenses start in week 7 of fantasy football. I'll give you my entire tier rankings all for free, 2 seconds in here. Hit that like button if you appreciate this video. Maybe even subscribe if you want to get this every week. Starting with the New England Patriots as my #1 overall defense. They have been improving. Christian Gonzalez is healthy. They're putting it together, and they get one against the Tennessee Titans, who have been one of the most inefficient offenses so far this year. I mean, we have Alec Iomanor and we have Van Jefferson as the #1 and 2 wide receivers this week. It is going to be great for them and a very safe floor. I have their floor at 7.5 points with their ceiling up over 10. Next up, we have the Seattle Seahawks. I'm going to go quick over these top ones because everybody has them rostered against the Houston Texans. Very positive matchup against an offensive line that is terrible. They should be able to get a ton of sacks. They are dealing with some injuries, though, so if Tariq Woolen comes in, all these other guys that are injured comes in and plays, it's going to be great. As of right now, we don't know. Next up, the Denver Broncos, getting one against the New York Giants. A lot of people might think I have this defense too high because of how good Jackson Dart has been playing and the entire offense in general. But this Broncos defense is legit. Pat Surtain is healthy. He is also legit, averaging one of the least amount of fantasy points to wide receivers per route run. Great pressure rate on the quarterback. Should be a position for fantasy points. They are a ceiling for me of 12 fantasy points. Next up, the Kansas City Chiefs. Moving up this ranking, they're my top defense to add off the waiver wire this week. Again, guys, make sure to be subscribed, have your post notifications on so you don't miss those videos and those informational tips that I drop earlier in the week. But again, they get one against the Las Vegas Raiders. Geno Smith has thrown 10 interceptions so far this year. That is a league high. Absolutely atrocious, absolutely terrible. We're not going to have Brock Bowers. He's going to be throwing to scrubs, essentially. So this is a great spot for the Kansas City Chiefs, Trent McDuffie, all of the defense to have a good one against this team. Next up, the Green Bay Packers in the next tier against the Arizona Cardinals. This is a good one. It looks like we will have Jacoby Brissett at quarterback this week. Now, for fantasy purposes, that's bad. For defensive purposes, that's pretty decent for us here. The Packers defense has been a little bit underwhelming, at least to what the name value can predict them to be, but this Arizona offense is not very good. The offensive line is kind of washy. Marvin Harrison is dealing with a concussion. He may or may not play. Great spot for sacks and holding this team to not many fantasy points. Next up, we do have the Eagles here against the Minnesota Vikings. We do have Carson Wentz ruled in as the starter. Now, that's not necessarily great. That's not bad. He's been up and down in his start so far this year. The Eagles are a decent defense. They're not great, but I like the matchup here. 6-point floor for them in fantasy points with a ceiling of almost 11.5 fantasy points, followed by the Cleveland Browns here against Miami. And I might honestly move this one up a little bit. We know the Miami Dolphins are not an efficient offense as far as Tua goes. He's not helping that case. We have Tyreek out for the year. There is some decent weather concerns in this matchup, though. There's projected to be very high winds. So if that's going to happen, the pass game is going to be restricted a little bit. As far as start sits go, I'm not too worried about Jalen Waddle. It is a matchup against Tyson Campbell for him specifically, who is decent. He allows a decent amount of fantasy points to wide receivers. Now that he is coming from the Jaguars, he was positive in that there. If you guys want a full breakdown of what wide receivers are going against what corners, I just posted that video. I suggest you go watch it. It has timestamps. Just make sure your wide receivers are in a good spot this week. With that, though, the wind doesn't really worry me too much. There's going to be gusts. It shouldn't be anything that majorly changes this game. If anything, it'll help the running backs. But again, keep this game a low-scoring one. We do have Myles Garrett. We have one of the best defensive lines in the league. They should be able to generate a lot of sacks on Tua, followed by the Carolina Panthers here at my defense #9. They get one against the New York Jets. And this team, guys, it is completely depleted. One of the only reasons I have the Panthers this high is because of the matchup. We know their defense internally is not amazing. But guys, the Jets cannot generate offense. Whether it's Justin Fields, which it probably will be, or Tyrod Taylor, I mean, we're not going to have Garrett Wilson. So who are you throwing to? Josh Reynolds, I believe, is questionable as well. So it's Xavier Gibson, maybe. Mason Taylor. It's not a good situation. Breece Hall is going to have to carry this team, but it should be a low-scoring one for them and a place where the Carolina Panthers can actually inflict some of their own will. I have their floor down at 5.5 points because there is a chance that the Jets aren't that bad against a mid-defense, or their ceiling here over at 12 fantasy points, one of the highest of the week. Again, because of this matchup and the wide range of outcomes that we get, just know that they're a little bit more risky compared to the rest. But in this tier here, we start getting to the risky defenses that you can start, but if you need to, just be a little bit worrisome and be aware of that. Starting with the Miami Dolphins here on the other side, getting their matchup against the Cleveland Browns. Dylan Gabriel has not been good as far as scoring touchdowns, getting this team to win games, and not throwing interceptions and forcing turnovers. This is going to be good for the Miami Dolphins defense, who, again, is not a great one, but the matchup is there. If there's any weather concerns that end up building to anything serious, it'll be good for both of these defenses. Next up, the Chicago Bears, who might be lower to some people with this matchup against the New Orleans Saints. Spencer Rattler really has not thrown that many interceptions. Like, he has been decent. This team, considering their record, is not as bad as it looks. Now, I know it's hard to say that, but the Chicago Bears defense is not much better. They are last in so many categories. They allow a lot of points to running backs, wide receivers, just NFL yards in general. So it is a risky defense. Jalen Johnson is good. The rest of the defense is kind of mid. So that against the New Orleans Saints, who shouldn't score a ton, but we will see. I have their ceiling around 11.5 points and their floor at 5.8. Next up, we have the Los Angeles Rams. You're getting one against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, this is a very good internal defense. Like the other ones we just talked about ahead of them, this is a better team. The only issue is the Jacksonville Jaguars are a better offense. Now, we do have Travis Hunter. Who knows how many offensive snaps he's going to play? Last week, he played his career/season high in snaps on offense. We have Brian Thomas Jr., who's kind of clicking now with Trevor Lawrence. The team and the offense is moving. So because of that, it lowers their floor down to 5 fantasy points for me. But because of how good this defense is, Trevor Lawrence has averaged an interception per game. We are not afraid of fumbles for this team as well. So I have their ceiling up at 11 points as well. Guys, if you do appreciate this video, make sure to help us hit the like goal. It helps me so much as a creator when you guys do that for me. Even hype the video. I know it's a thing YouTube does now if you appreciate it, to just show your support. But I really appreciate you guys watching this video all the way through. Next up with the Atlanta Falcons, they get one against the San Francisco 49ers. Now, we do have Kittle back in this offense. That could change a lot of things. But this Atlanta defense, guys, is playing out of their mind. They're allowing some of the least fantasy points to wide receivers. They're stopping the run. They aren't allowing very many yards per carry. It's an all-around good defense. Them putting all of their draft capital in defense really did help them, and trading up, it's just a really good situation for them. The 49ers have been up and down regardless of who we get at quarterback or who's in at wide receiver. This is a defense internally you probably want to keep your eye on all season, but again, it's not that great because the 49ers do score a decent amount of points because of their internal strength. I have their ceiling over at 10.5 fantasy points and their floor at 5, followed by the Minnesota Vikings against the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles really just haven't been the Super Bowl winning Eagles, and the Vikings defense is one of the best. They are allowing the actual number one least amount of fantasy points per route run to wide receivers. I am slightly worried about A.J. Brown. Isaiah Rodgers is a very good corner. Again, if you guys want to double check where your wide receivers rank against the cornerbacks they're playing against, check out that video. I'll have it pinned here in the description and on my page as well. You can go check it out. But if A.J. Brown is restricted, it is the Saquon Barkley game. You take Saquon out of this game. Hopefully he doesn't do too much. The Vikings defense is good enough to do that. But again, the Eagles can score. They're a decent offense. I have their floor just under 5 fantasy points and their ceiling at 10.5 if all things do go right. Followed by the Detroit Lions getting one against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Regardless of how depleted this Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense is, of what wide receivers are healthy, who isn't, Baker Mayfield is playing at a good enough level. Rachaad White is serviceable enough to where they're going to score points. The Detroit Lions defense is a lot better in stopping the run than they are the pass. So maybe these injuries bode well for them a little bit, but I have them down here not as strong of a start. Their ceiling is decent at 10 points, but their floor at 4 is one that I'm a little bit worried of. Next up with the New York Jets getting one against the Carolina Panthers. We don't know exactly what this game is going to look like. The Jets defense is decent. Sauce Gardner has not been playing at the level he has been in previous seasons. And now we have Jalen Coker back for the Panthers. Maybe they put it together a little bit. They haven't really had a struggle of scoring so far. So that's where I have them here with their floor of 4.3 fantasy points and a ceiling of 10. Next up, the Indianapolis Colts in this tier against the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, the Chargers have a ton of injuries on the offensive line. The Indianapolis Colts are great at getting pressure on the quarterback. There could be a scenario here where they get a ton of sacks and end up being serviceable. But with Quentin Johnson back, this offense is scary. So again, this is a risky defense. Internally, they are better than some of these other guys. But this is one here that we can put at our defense number 17, followed by the Houston Texans against the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks have been a pretty decent offense this year. I'm not going to lie to you, but the Houston Texans defense is good in their own. They have a defensive-minded head coach. They can stop the run, and we'll follow that by the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Los Angeles Chargers, the Titans, Commanders, and Giants. Those are our last defenses in this tier, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in next week's video. It'll be a big week. All glory to the man above.